Hello guys! Have you just bought your first steering wheel? In this video I'm going to explain and show you some concepts and elements about it. In that way you'll understand better how it works, but also how to set it up. Because as you know, the configuration is important, it plays a crucial role on our performances. Let's start. There is a long debate on the internet about the rotation, because some people claim a low steering rotation is considered as cheating. Let's start from the beginning. Most of steering wheels have a limited rotation. About 95% of steering wheels sold are equipped with a belt, while the rest is direct drive, but it's very expensive. Here is one of my three steering wheels I use for my videos, for competitive races and for my lessons. For example, here we have 90, 180, 270, 360, 450 and 540. Multiply for 2 and you have 1080 degrees, which is the maximum rotation of this model. Now, the question is, do you really use all the 1080 rotation of your steering wheel while racing? Of course not! Do you remember this example I made in one of my previous videos? It's something you can test on all racing games. When you steer slowly, your car will follow the direction you want to go. But if you start steering fast, the rear wheels can't follow the direction, and the rear wheels will lose grip, making you spin. Why have I reminded you that? Because the rotation has a key effect on what I've just told you. If the rotation is higher, you can even steer fast. But the loss of grip of the rear wheels is minor, because you have to turn the steering wheel more, and this slows down the steering speed. In very few words, the steering wheel is less sensitive. But if you set it on a low rotation, let's say 450 degrees, you don't need big effort to make you spin your car. Does it mean that a low steering rotation is bad? No! You have to set up your steering wheel rotation according to the speed of your car. On street legal cars, which I guess you are going to race on track, a 800 degrees rotation should be good enough. On rally and race cars like GT4 and GT3, 600 or 650 degrees is perfect in my opinion. On faster GT cars like LMP1 and the new racing class GT1, 500 or 550 is better. On Opel wheels like Formula 1, Formula Indy, which represent the pinnacle of motorsport in terms of speed, sometimes I set up the steering wheel rotation even at 400 degrees. So, as you can see, faster is the speed of your car, lower has to be the steering rotation. Because at higher speeds you need more sensitivity, of course without exaggerating. According to that, you will ask me, okay then, but why do many steering wheels feature the 1080 degree rotation? That's because when we buy a steering wheel, most of people buy it for sim racing, in simple words, racing simulation. But there are other software which are driving simulators, for example off-road simulation, where you have to go on very low speeds, and for that reason you need more steering wheel rotation to increase the turning precision. So, if someone is watching your video and says, "Oh, your steering wheel rotation is too low, that's like cheating," no, you aren't. Just find the most comfortable rotation according to your car speed and to your needs. Some people hate it, other people desperately need it. But what's the dead zone? The dead zone is the space in the middle where the steering wheel is considered not turning at all. Higher is the space, the more you have to turn the steering wheel to make your car steer. If the dead zone is 0, there is no dead zone, and even a minimal move on the steering wheel will steer your car. So, according to that, we can assume this element affects a lot the precision of the steering wheel. Quite easy to understand, right? At this point you will ask me how to set it up. This depends on the game, but mostly on the steering wheel rotation you're using. With a higher steering rotation, a low dead zone won't disturb your drive. With a low wheel rotation, a low dead zone is quite annoying because when you are on a straight line, you have to move the steering wheel by just 1 millimeter to change the direction. So in most of cases, tune the dead zone according to the rotation degrees of the steering wheel. Force feedback is one of the most important elements we have and we often underestimate. What's the purpose of the force feedback? The most important one is to center the steering wheel, because without the force feedback the steering wheel will stuck in the same position and we should center it by ourselves. Another element of the force feedback is to feel the surface. Tarmac, a curb, dirt, snow, ice, all the surfaces have their own reaction on the force feedback. So according to that, we know the amount of grip. But the amount of grip is shown also in another way. The steering wheel becomes stiffer or lighter according to the grip. In fact, if you notice, when you jump, the steering wheel becomes light. That means the grip is equal to 0. In fact, you can turn your vehicle in mid-air. In other cases, when your car gets squeezed by the force or by the centripetal force of a banked corner, the steering wheel gets stiffer. This informs you your car has the maximum grip. Now the question is, how to set it up? I'll start telling you, don't set it up too stiff, because it isn't simulative at all. And in few long gaming sessions you could ruin your steering wheel motor. If you own a real car, I guess it features a power steering, right? Well, that's too light for sim racing. It has to be quite stiff, not too much to allow you to have a precise driving at high speeds. The effort to turn the steering wheel should be about 10-11 kilograms, which is the same of the small old car without power steering. It will be a bit hard to move at low speeds, but it will be softer but not too much at medium speeds, to return very stiff at very high speeds. I was hesitating to include this part or not, But considering I saw this mistake on a lot of my students, I think finally I had to include it. For beginners and amateurs, usually when your car starts on the steering, by instinct you tend to turn the steering wheel more. But when you turn the steering wheel too much, it doesn't make the car turn more. On the contrary, you increase even more the understeer. Not to mention, you increase the tire's temperature and wear. So, if your car starts on the steering, don't turn the steering wheel more, just decrease the speed. To understand if you steer too much while cornering, you can do two things. Watch at the tire's temperature. If the front tires are getting too hot, that means you're torturing them while cornering. Feel the force feedback. Do you remember what I told you before? If you have low grip, the force feedback gets lighter. So if you're steering too much, you're losing grip, and by consequence, the steering wheel gets lighter. The force feedback has to be stiff while cornering. I hope this lesson video was useful for you. Check my channel to see further video lessons. Thanks for watching and see you in my next video.